Okay. All right. Well, welcome everybody. We're glad that you're here. My name is Suzanne McGuire, and then Ashley from Betty Hardwick is here today. We're going to talk about three things today. We're going to talk about SPEDTex. We're going to talk about the SSES grant, and then Ashley is going to talk about some lists that you may want to get your kiddo on. So I'm going to share my screen and we will get started. Okay, can you guys see that says SPEDTex?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So if you haven't heard of SPEDTex, it is a website for parents and caregivers of children that are in special ed in Texas. It is a great website. It has great resources for you. And right here is the address. And again, I will also send out this presentation so you will have this information, but we're going to look at it in just a minute.
Okay.
So what you do when you go to SPEDTex, you can create an account. All it's going to ask you for is your name and your email. And then these are the different things that it can do for you. So you can set up reminders for yourself. So if there's ARD meetings or meetings at the school that you need to go to, you can set reminders on here and it will send you that when it's getting close. You can be in focus groups to share feedback about things that are going on and what we are showing on SPEDTex, and then there's resources, and there's trainings if you want to. If you're wondering about stuff, then you can look up different trainings for that. And then they also have SPEDTex has a Facebook page, and it also has a Twitter or an X page, so you can follow them on those two. So let's look at SPEDTex. Let me find it. Here we go. All right. So when you you can always just type in SPEDTex in your search bar and it'll bring you here. And so this is where it brings you to. When you click right here where it says learn more, this right here where it says my SPEDTex login, you can click on that. And then right here where it says I'm new and need to create a SPEDTex account, that's when it'll ask for your email and then you'll have a password. And once you have that, then you can just log in and you can go to the home page. And so when you're on the home page, you can see what this just gives you general information about it. There's a little video about what SPEDTex is. Um, it takes you would want to go for families. They have one for educators, but all of this is being moved over to a different website for them. And then there's different ways to get involved. So like if you click on learn, it's going to take you to the different webinars that they have hosted. Like the last one we had was on dyslexia, and then there was one on special education updates. And as you can go down and see different ones on that. Okay, so now let's look. I want to show you one other thing right here where it says resources. You have different things like what the disabilities are in Texas, frequently asked questions, notice of procedural safeguards, which you get at your ARD meetings, but if you need another copy, they're there. A parent guide to what it looks like in the ARD process. But right here, it says SPEDTex resource locator. And when you click on that, it brings you here and you can look for different things. So right here where it says topic, you can click on that. And let's say you're new to special ed and you want to know about ARD meetings, you can come right up here to say admission review, all of that. There's the topic, your language, either in English or Spanish, and then what type of resource it is. So if it's just a brochure, an online resource, a training, or a video, and then it'll tell you here what they are. So let's say, I know that this is one thing that sometimes I know when I was teaching parents, had a hard time remembering all the acronyms and the abbreviations that we have in special ed. So you can click right there and it'll open up maybe, here we go. It tells you what all of those acronyms and abbreviations are. So, that might be something that you want to look at, or you might want to print out so you'll know what those are about. So you can look up different things in this part right here. And you can always get to them by phone, by email, but right here, they have the chat feature. And so during business hours, if you have any questions and say, you've called the school and you don't understand, or you've called, your SPED director or the teacher or even me, and you still need some help with that, you can click right here and they will immediately respond during business hours with the chat feature. So I think that's a really good thing. Whoops, wrong deal. So that is SPEDTex. You can also join their mailing list, and they send out a monthly newsletter that has all things special ed in Texas that you might need to know. So that's just a little overview of SPEDTex. If you decide that you want to join, again, it's real easy. But if you have any trouble with that, you can just get a hold of me and I'll help you with that. And then the next
Okay.
thing I want to talk to you guys about is the SSES grant. So Greg or Amber, have either of you, I know Amber hasn't, but Greg, have you applied for this for your kiddo?
I believe my wife has, but I'll have to ask her when she comes home.
Okay. All right. So this is a $1,500 one-time grant if your child, for parents, and it's if your child is eligible, and you're eligible if your child is on an IEP and they're pre-K through 12th grade. And there's an online store that you can buy things that you can use at home with them. And there's also different services like speech therapy, equine therapy, different things like that that they've contracted with that you can get for your kids. So for this year, the application timeline closes March 15th of 2024 for this school year. And then if you don't get in for this school year, next school year, they're changing things up a little bit to make it more streamlined. And so it'll open February 3rd, 2025. But again, this is a one-time thing. And so if you've applied for it in the past and you got it, then you can't apply again. I will say this, if you're new to special ed and your kiddo didn't start with their IEP until after October, you may get a thing that says that they're not eligible, and all you have to do is get a hold of them and you will just upload some of your art paperwork that shows that they are eligible, because right now they're doing it off of the kids that are in special ed in October. So does that make sense?
Yes, I believe my wife has applied for this, and we recently got approved.
Oh,
We just
good.
haven't used it yet. I'll have to confer with her and make sure it's the same grant.
Okay. Yes. And if not, then make sure that you've applied for this.
Okay.
Okay, so that is what I have. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And now Ashley is going to introduce herself, and she's going to tell us her last name because I will butcher it. And then she's going to talk about some different lists that you may want to get your kid on. So Ashley, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you, Suzanne. Good morning. My name is Ashley Fauden-Steele. I'm the Director of IDD Authority Services here at the Betty Hardwick Center. Thank you, Suzanne, for allowing me to join you all this morning. I wanted to visit with you about the different Medicaid waivers that Texas offers, and then the wait list for those waivers. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
Oh.
Yep, we can see it.
Okay. So some of the different waivers that Texas offers. There. this? Okay, are the Star Kids MDCP program, class, DBMD, HCS, and Texas Home Living. All of these waivers have a wait list for them. I am most familiar with HCS and Texas Home Living, as the Betty Hardwick Center manages the interest list for those two programs. Those two alone have about a 10 to 15-year wait list to get into the program. And I imagine the other waivers listed on here have a wait list probably with a similar timeline. So with that, we strongly encourage families to have their child added to these wait lists early on, even if services is not something that is needed now, maybe later on in life when your child is a young adult, these services may be needed at that time. For these waivers, a person can't be in multiple waivers at one time, as well as in order to enroll into these programs, a person needs to meet certain Medicaid, financial, and diagnostic eligibility. However, the eligibility for those three things, it's not established until the state offers the program to that person. And the only Medicaid waiver where it considers the parent's income for those eligibility of Medicaid and financial is Texas Home Living. The other waivers that are listed on here only takes into account the child's income. All right, the first one I want to start with is the Medically Dependent Children Program, or MDCP, offered through Star Kids and through Star Health. It serves children and young adults ages 0 through 20. Service coordination, which is similar to case management, is provided by the managed care organization. And in order to qualify this program, the person would need medical necessity and level of care criteria for a nursing facility admission. I've listed down here the services that are available with this program. If this is something that you may be interested in, you can call the number listed below to add your child to the interest list. And then I've also included a website that provides some more information. Our next waiver is Community Living Assistance and Support Services, or the CLASS waiver. This program serves all ages. And one thing I forgot to mention, with each of these waivers, they can go with the child or the individual anywhere in the state of Texas. For CLASS, case management is provided by a contracted case management agency. And if CLASS is a program that you're interested in, again, I've provided the phone number for that. And in order to be eligible for the CLASS program, the person must have a diagnosis of a related condition with an onset before the age of 22, have a qualifying adaptive behavioral level, must meet the level criteria for placement in an ICF, which stands for an immediate care facility, and have a substantial functional limitation in at least 3 areas of a major life activity. And those major life activities are learning, mobility, self-care, language, self-direction for any person that's over the age of 10, and independent living for any person that's over age of 10. And there's a couple other waivers that also mention having a limitation in these 3 areas, and those areas are still the same from what I just listed.
Okay.
The next waiver is the Deaf, Blind with Multiple Disabilities, or the DBMD waiver. This waiver provides home and community-based services to individuals with deaf, blindness, or another disability, and it's meant to be an alternative to a residential placement. The focus of this waiver is to increase opportunities for individuals to communicate and interact within their environment. And the services for this waiver and all the other waivers are provided based upon the unique needs of the individual and services. The DBMD waiver is provided for all ages. Case management is through the contracted provider agency. In order to qualify for this waiver, the person must have a diagnosis of deaf blindness or a related condition that will result in deaf blindness, as well as an additional related condition diagnosis that was presented before the age of 22. Again, it has the level of care criteria for the placement of an ICF facility and must have at least 3 areas of limitation in those major life activities and demonstrate a need for at least 1 or more services monthly. And then down below, I've listed all of the services that this particular waiver offers. All right, the next waiver is Texas Home Living. All ages are served within this program. The service coordination is provided by the local intellectual and developmental disability authority for our area, that is the Betty Hardwick Center. So they are also in our services if they're in the Texas Home Living program. Eligibility criteria for this program: the person must have an IQ of 69 or below, or have a related condition with an IQ of 75 or below, with mild and severe deficits in adaptive behavior. And then the services for this program, I have also listed here. If this is an interest list that you're interested in being added to, you can do that by reaching out to Kaden Wise, who is our intake specialist here at the Betty Hardwick Center, and I have listed her direct line here. And the last waiver we have is the HCS, or the Home and Community-Based Services waiver. Serves all ages, same interest list process as Texas Home Living. You would contact the Betty Hardwick Center in order to get added to this interest list. And it has the same eligibility criteria as Texas Home Living. HCS is the only Medicaid waiver that Texas provides that offers residential services in the form of a 3 or 4 bed group home placement or a host home companion care setting, which looks very similar to foster care. In each of these waiver services, the person in services has 2 options to have the services delivered. So they could link up with an agency that will provide the service, or they have the option to do what's called consumer directed service, or the CDS option. And through this option, the individual or the legal guardian can essentially become the employer, and they will be able to choose who they want to hire to provide the services through the program. They would be able to determine the schedule for that person, the rate of pay, and would be responsible for hiring, training, and managing and terminating service providers if needed. Through this program, it is a requirement that if the person is self-directing any service, they link up with what is called a financial management service agency, or an FMSA, who helps provide some training, does all the payroll for the service provider, and handles all of the federal and state employer taxes, as well as doing some background checks to ensure that the person that is going to be employed meets all of the requirements for each waiver. And then on my last slide, I've included my contact information. Feel free to email or call if you have any questions or have any interest on being added to the waivers, and I can assist you with that. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and if anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
So Greg or Amber, do you guys have any questions about these waivers?
I don't have any questions at this time.
Okay.
My wife may later, but I screenshot the contact information.
Okay, good. And I will send out the presentations to you, and I'll send out this recording, so you'll have all of that you can share with her.
Okay.
Okay, Amber, how about you? Are you good? Do you have any questions right now? Can you answer? I know you're really busy. Oh, you're muted, so we can't hear you. You just, if you have any questions, you can just call me or text me and I will answer them for you. Okay, well, that was pretty short and simple. If you guys need anything, just let me know, or you can reach out to Ashley. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, we will talk. Oh, one other thing. If you have any suggestions of what you would like, if we do it when we do our next virtual meeting like this, sometimes they last longer, sometimes they last about this long. But if you have any ideas or things that you need more information on, you can definitely email me or call me, and I will put that on our list of things for us to add to our tasty tidbits.
Okay,
Okay. All right. Well, thank you both for joining us, and I hope you have a great day. And again, if you need anything, just let us know.
thank you.
All right. Thank y'all for being here. All
Have a
right.
good day.
But you too. Bye-bye. Thanks again, Ashley. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Suzanne. You'll have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.